Yeah, I grew up in Eskilstuna, and me and Daniel went to school together. So that's where we met, and I think it must be I was 13 years old and Daniel was 14 when we got together and started playing.
But you were one of the original band members that were in the garage.
Yeah, pretty much, yes. The first years, I think I was 13, and I think our first record was released when I was, how old was I? I must have been 20 or something, so it took some while to get there. I think the first tour Pain of Salvation actually did was with the second album. At that time I had already quit, so
okay.
We decided to separate right before they recorded the second album, One Hour by the Concrete Lake.
Okay.
So, and then Johan replaced me then.
Okay.
So they got things began to get going after I quit.
Oh, don't you hate that?
Yeah, but that time people often ask me that, aren't you sad now that you didn't stayed and got to see some of the success with the band?
Yeah.
But at that time, I think it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
I think it was mainly me and Daniel getting a bit tired of each other at that point. So
too many Daniels in one band.
Yeah, I think so. We had played for so long. Yeah. Over 10 years we had playing together.
Yeah.
And I also think that it's in a phase in your life when you are begin to think in what direction are you going, and he had met his wife and I met my wife, and so I think it was partly that we had played for so long, and partly that you are growing up and growing in a bit different directions, I think.
Daniel Carlson.
Yes.
Which I'm wondering, is it a coincidence or is your buddy Magnus Carlson relation?
No. I think Carlson is one of the most common names here in Sweden. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yes, and actually in Renaissance of Fools now, the bass player is playing with us is called Linus Carlson. So
also no relation.
No. Well, Magnus and Linus have a slight relation. They grew up together, so but. The story might really begin when I was in gymnasium. It's the upper secondary school or high school in Sweden. Okay. Which both me and Daniel went there in Västerås, and there was a few friends of ours who had a band, and in that band Magnus played the drums. So I met him there at school sometimes when he was there visiting, and well, we met a few times during the years, and then when I moved to Falun, we got together in a band. Actually, was when I had moved here, I was asked to join to play the guitar in a band. Was playing mainly pop songs, and we started to talk about that we really should get together and play some bit heavier music.
Okay.
And actually Björn Tauman, who also played in Codfish and also in on the first Renaissance of Fools record, also played in that band. So that's where we met. So it was us three that joined together and formed Codfish. And later on we also met up with Matthias, who joined us singing. We played for some time, having a great deal of fun.
And then everybody left you and went to LA.
Yes, pretty much. Well, I couldn't join because at the day when they left, actually my first daughter was born.
Oh.
So they got up and visited us on their way to the airport.
Okay. Wow.
After a while, when they get back home, that's when actually we started forming Renaissance of Fools. It was me and Magnus and Björn.
Okay.
Forming back together. It took a while before we got together with Kjell, though, because finding a lead singer here is a quite difficult task.
Okay.
Actually. So we decided in the beginning that that I would sing until we find a better alternative.
Uh-huh.
So the reason that we decided to take in David on vocals instead was that we didn't feel that Kjell's vocal sound was really what was fitting our music, and even though it does a great job on the first album, we never felt really that it was the sound that we were after, really. So I think he had some quite difficult times because the vocals were the vocal melodies were already written when he joined, and we really feel now when with David and Linus on bass also, it really feels that we have found home, or what you would say.
Yeah.
It feels like this is what Renaissance of Fools was meant to be, really.
Okay.
So it feels really great now. I mailed him and asked if he was willing to do some tracks. So it was really fun to do something together again.
That is great.
I don't think it's the last time either. So
okay, might be the start of something new.
Yeah, hopefully.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yes. Well, I spent a lot of time in Dana's house when we were teenagers. Well, I grew up. I remember him as a little kid.
Yeah.
Actually, so it was really fun working with him again. And the album actually contains 7 whole tracks, and also a kind of intro. But 7 tracks. So 3 of the 7 tracks is Christopher's.
I believe he's playing on Scars.
Yes.
And is that going to be the title track?
No, it's not the title track. The album will be called The Spring.
Okay.
And that's because 4 of the tracks has a kind of a theme. You would say the Arabian Spring, that was the revolution taking place in Egypt, and it's 4 tracks, and they have different perspectives on it. The first track is from a dictator view, and the second track is from the oppressed people's view, and then comes the revolution and the upstart of the revolution, and then it's what happens next, what happens after revolution.
Okay.
And that's why the album would be called Spring. I think it was very interesting that it was an uprising from the people, I think, and also interesting that the power of social media is there, how it was spreading and how it got people together and to rise up against the dictators and leaders. So that's what I found very interesting about it. And it's also very interesting to see what happens. It's a revolution might be. It's not easy, but you can do a revolution. You can, but to the way to be to a democratic state is quite long, I think. It's not easy. Well, in Europe, the democratic process was a couple of 100 years. So you can't just force democracy. It would be very interesting to see what happens now.
Do you find that that's as an artist? Do you think that you have to be kind of careful of which topics you choose to associate and align yourself with?
It's a difficult question. Well, I think you should be careful with what you do and say. I was thinking we have a band here from Fallen, actually. They also have themes on their albums, and they deals with different kinds of wars. And I saw there has been some discussion about because they were at some point being photographed in Israel with the Israel military and with their flags, and I don't think that they were really thinking about the political issue about that. And so I think you really need to be careful with what you are doing and what messages you are sending out. And especially in a conflict like that with so. Well, I feel, for my personal reason, that you should say and take part in the political discussion. If you can. So maybe you should. Sometimes you should choose your conflicts well. Well, I love animals, but I'm not a vegetarian.
Okay.
Actually, I enjoy eating vegetarian food, but and for some time I actually mostly ate vegetarian. So, but no, I'm not a vegetarian. So
Not a strict vegetarian, no.
No, I'm not. Well, we are really happy with this new album. The drummer said actually, well, this is our Sgt. Pepper album.
Okay.
It feels really great. It feels like that we have this album is how we really want to sound like.
Okay.
And we really hope that we will be able to go out and play. Hopefully, play some down in Europe as well. So.
Well, we would love to have you over here in the Netherlands.
Yeah, I hope we will.
Okay.
So I really hope that everyone that hears it will like it as much as we do. So.
Okay. Hey, it was a pleasure.
Yeah, the pleasure was mine. Bye bye.